All right, Trish, thanks very much. Now, President Obama just spoke live about threats to our nation's cyber infrastructure, saying America's economic prosperity depends on our cybersecurity. So does our national defense, if you ask me. Let's get some reaction. Joining me now, we have CNBC Chief Washington Correspondent John Harwood, and on the phone, my old pal Jed Babbin, who's a former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense and co-author of Why China Wants War with the U.S. John Harwood, start with you. It looks like Obama's fingering a very important problem. Is his proposals enough?
Well, we'll see. It's only part of what he did today was only part of what we expect him to do, Larry. There's also likely to be a new military command coming on cyber warfare, offensive, defensive operations. This is a entirely new territory. The term weapons of mass disruption is one that we haven't heard from a president before, but of course this is the president who mastered the internet in his presidential campaign. He fought off his lawyers and is keeping his BlackBerry in his pocket. And it's only natural that somebody, that, this young 21st century president would focus on this problem. I think the only thing we can say with confidence is he's going to put a lot more focus on it than we've ever had before.
Jed Babbin, are you out there on the phone?
Oh, yeah.
All right, great. Now, Jed, we know there's been a lot of Chinese attempts to hack into our whole computer structure, and this is big stuff for intelligence, for national defense, and for U.S. security. Is President Obama doing the right thing? Is he doing enough?
Well, I think if you gave me 48 hours, and Larry, it would take at least that long, I could probably come up with a worse plan. But this is what you have now as an overlay to what's already going on. We have some very, very capable people in secure nets right now protecting defense and industrial classified nets. He's apparently going to put someone in control of them indirectly. We need to have this organized as a military function, not as a civilian function, not the way President Obama is doing it. He may be going a lot farther to protect civilian nets, which is a good thing. But the way they're trying to do this, to incorporate all civilian and military nets, can be quite clearly is going to be a disaster.
Can I just get John Harwood just quickly to respond to that, John? As I understand this, the authority in the White House will be divided between the National Security Council and Larry Summers' Economic Policy Council. Jed is worried it's got not enough defense and security. You have a quick take on that, John? The bureaucracy is the issue.
That part of it hasn't come yet, I don't believe. I think we expect the president to sign an order sometime in the next couple of weeks creating a new military command. So I think that concern is something that's likely to be dealt with as we go down the road a couple of weeks.
Trish? Trish, over to you.
Is this microphone working? What do you know?
On.
There it is.
All right.
Hello. Okay, Jim Harper, are you with us, Director of Information Policy Studies at the Cato Institute?
I'm here.
Great.
Glad to be with you.
It seems to me that this is sort of a no-brainer. I mean, this is something that should have been done, in fact, ages ago. Thank goodness it's being tackled now. But how much can the government get up to speed when really, it seems like this is something that should have been done, in fact, at an earlier time?
Well, it's a no-brainer that the government wants to protect its infrastructure, and the government has been working to protect its infrastructure all along. The question is whether the government knows any more than the private sector about how to do this stuff. And I think something implicit in President Obama's speech was that the government really doesn't know. He said that the private sector would be left to its own devices. They wouldn't be dictating standards, and I think that's very important. He said that privacy and civil liberties would be protected because the government wouldn't be monitoring communications. So for the most part, private networks will be privately secured. Now, the government has a role in protecting its own networks. The thing that was missing in the speech, and I think this goes to the military context, is that a lot of critical infrastructures should be taken off the public internet. Now, we love it, but that doesn't mean that we have to run our power grids on the public internet. It doesn't mean that we have to run our financial services on the public internet.
Well, you might want to have a whole lot more security if, in fact, you're going to do that, because it leaves you pretty vulnerable.
The thing to do is to take it off the public internet, not to leave it on there.
Jed, what do you think? Does that make sense to you, to take it off the public internet altogether?
I think it does. And again, it has to be surrounded by a secure net, much like we have around some of our military systems. But let's not forget, it's very easy to take these things off the public service bands. It's very hard to protect them. The Chinese penetrated very thoroughly the Lockheed computer net protecting the F-35 development project last summer. This is very hard to do, and that's why you need to have the very top people in place. The thing that gets me about this is we're now going to impose another layer of bureaucracy, supposedly directing it all. That's what we did with the Director of National Intelligence. That's a disaster. This is going to be even worse.
All right, and we haven't gotten to the investment angle of this at all yet, but we do have to leave.